Are you doing a little cleaning up there?
Yeah, I'm just cleaning up after our last little skit here. We got stuff all over the.
Yeah, it's funny you grab IPA, which is very useful chemical. We use it to clean medical devices too.
All the time, right?
Yeah, basically the same stuff.
Hey, and speaking about cleaning medical devices, I know we'll do that. You can't just like spray the thing in ethanol and then package it up. There's got to be some requirements and things that we have to do around
it's quite complicated. And it's interesting. You probably would never clean a medical device with a paper towel.
Right.
So let's keep that habit in the kitchen and here. So yeah, I mean, so there's it's a totally adaptable case-by-case situation for cleaning medical devices. The very first question you need to ask yourself is, do you really need to clean it? Because cleaning it is quite a pain. Not only the actual physical act of cleaning it, but the consistency level is a huge important factor in cleaning. How do you clean 1,000 medical devices the same way? Right?
Yeah, right.
And often it's more manual than you might think.
Really?
Yeah, so that you'll often have someone, working it. The system. So you might have it slightly automated. So maybe you drop it in a ultrasonic cleaner with a certain chemical. Yep. You just press a button. It's kind of consistent. Then you leave it to dry. But what if two pieces are touching?
Oh man.
Do they dry off at the part that's touching them? What if they're overlapped, nesting? What if one's upside down? So you got to kind of touch them and rearrange them.
Right.
Now you're kind of touching them. What if you leave them in an environment that's got dust on them?
Boy.
So then now you have to maybe do it in a clean room. The assembly itself, of course, after you've cleaned the individual parts, can introduce particulate. Humans shed particulate all the time. We bring in clothes. We touched the doorknob on the way in, and even in a clean room, those things are important.
Right.
But it's obviously essential sometimes too, because we want to make sure in certain medical devices that there is no residual particulate on them, and it's not something you can sterilize away. You can't sterilize a piece of sand out of a medical device.
Yeah, so you want to clean them.
So that's interesting. So then you got the device that's been cleaned. It had a custom procedure made for that one device.
Sure.
And you validate it to make sure that it actually does what you want it to do. And you have to make sure you validate things like the packaging. So not only the device itself, but when it's in the package, did that introduce any problems? Or did that stop any problems that you didn't anticipate it to stop? If you do accelerated aging, which is a heat treatment process, does that dry the device out more? Maybe some of the chemicals you used are now dried off in a way that a non-heat treated device wouldn't be. Again, sterilization can affect things like that as well. And other factors can have a real impact on the cleaning.
Wow.
But of course, at the end of the day, your goal is to remove physical soils.
Yep, absolutely.
Be it sand, dust, etc. You can remove microbes, which often are sterilized later, but not always. See a reprocessable medical device like an endoscope that doesn't actually get literally sterilized, and things like that.
Yeah, very cool. So basically, we want to have all these considerations around cleaning medical devices and not just simply come in with a paper towel and wiping it off and sticking it in the bag.
Yeah, if you want to clean this next time, we're going to have to get like a 10-page document describing the motion, the dry time,
the concentration.
And we're not in the clean room, so this is a D- effort, Nick.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Well, you should have seen it before.
That's true. It is actually cleaner, so there you go.
We'll take it. All right. Thanks, Nigel.
Yeah.